This is RadioFire.com. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here. Thank you for joining me. As always, broadcasting from the Radio on Fire studios here in Baltimore, Maryland. A lot of things I want to talk about. Diamond K Morning Show, new episodes dropping daily, 9 a.m. RadioOnFire.com, also on YouTube.com/Diamond K Show Live. Wow, it is a very interesting time to live in Baltimore. Baltimore, always interesting. I love this city. Of course, I was born here. Now, we're over 200 murders, unfortunately, in the city right now as of this broadcast. So that is not a good thing. How is that relevant to the topic that we're going to be talking about today? It is very relevant. Today, we're going to talk about the rise and fall of football great Ray Lewis. And what's ironic about Ray Lewis is that he comes from humble beginnings and he has a bad memory. I've talked about Ray Lewis on this program before. I have. And I'm sure that I'm going to have to talk about him again, at some point in time, because he consistently says ignorant things. And this is Ray Lewis, former Raven player Ray Lewis. I always knew something was shaky about Ray Lewis. Something was shaky about him. I knew it. Couldn't quite put my finger on what it was about Ray Lewis that was shaky, but I always knew something about this guy was just not on the up and up. And, Ray Lewis coming under fire, justifiably so, for comments that he made. It's ironic when somebody like Ray Lewis, he rose to such heights in sports, but has sunk to so low in character and as a person, right? I mean, so this big debate is going on over whether the Baltimore Ravens should, sign Colin Kaepernick. Of course, we know how some people feel about Colin Kaepernick. But I want to say this. Colin Kaepernick is, from, everything that I can see, a good dude. And he's somebody who is socially awake. Is that the proper terminology now? Awake. He's awake. And, the idea of him being a backup to fill in for the obviously injured Joe Flacco. And I want to say this. Joe Flacco is definitely injured. It's more serious than what they're leading on. Because if he was only going to be out a week, why would they be talking about filling his position? The great white hope, Joe Flacco. Why would they be trying to fill his position if he was only going to be out for a week? Now, under the pressure, they may bring him back soon, too soon, and maybe he might get hurt for real. I think they need to think about that. Now, Shannon Sharpe is the man, and I really like Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe tells it like it is, okay? Another NFL great. But Ray Lewis, for some reason, he has a bad memory, and I'm going to remind people first and foremost. Let's go back. I'm going to take you back in history for a minute, and we're going to talk about Ray Lewis, right? The black limousine speeding down an ATL street, okay, right near a club that I used to DJ at. Ray Lewis leaving the chaos of what would become a notorious murder scene. Now, the establishment that outside of this establishment that this fight took place. I've been in that location. I've been in that establishment many times. But it's ironic that somebody like Ray Lewis, who was fighting for his life after being accused of taking 2 lives, double murder, you think that he could have something in him that would just allow him to give a nod to somebody who didn't commit any crimes. Colin Kaepernick hasn't committed any crimes whatsoever. But this jigaboo, coon, Ray Lewis, who I've called this on numerous occasions, it's ironic because the elephant in the room is that because Colin Kaepernick has protested police brutality, the murder of black people in this country at the hands of the police, you would think that someone who was accused of double murder during his football career, okay, he wasn't a Hall of Famer at this point. He was a football star, I would say that. He had a promising career when this happened, but this was before the Super Bowl. And he got another chance because people in the NFL vouched for him. Fans vouched for him. Coaches vouched for him. I'm talking about Ray Lewis. People vouched for him. He was on trial for double murder. Speaking of double murder, let's go back, okay? Now, there's some facts that are indisputable facts, okay? And let's get into that. How is it that a man who has done so much for his team, his community, still be accountable for a tragedy, right? Because obviously he wasn't convicted of this, right? But I think it still looms over him. Now I'm going to say Ray Lewis has done a lot for his community. He has done a lot. I will say that. But the story behind Ray Lewis, it is a story of redemption, a story of a second chance. And you would think somebody who got the second chance that Ray Lewis got would be eager to return the favor and give a second chance to somebody else who deserved it. Somebody who was not on trial for double murder. Somebody that didn't do anything wrong, unless you consider kneeling down during the national anthem something wrong. Because that's all that Colin Kaepernick did. And you mean to tell me you couldn't vouch for that man? Now, a lot of people may not know this. A lot of people may not know, okay? Early in the morning of January 31st, 2000, Ray Lewis was in the Buckhead section of Atlanta, which I used to live and used to DJ in, celebrating with some friends in the wee hours of the morning, Super Bowl for that year. The Rams had just beaten the Titans in a very thrilling last-second finish game, right? It was a big deal. They was out celebrating, the fellas, and Ray Lewis. Lewis was already a 3-time Pro Bowler. As I said earlier, he was a star, but he was not an icon. He was not a Hall of Famer, not yet, not in 2000. Now, that night, him and some of his homeboys got into an argument with another group of men outside of this bar in Buckhead, which is an upscale area of Atlanta. Now, the argument got physical, some punches were thrown, and Ray Lewis and his homeboys hopped into the limousine and fled the scene. Behind them, a young man, 21 years old, another young man, 24 years old, lie dying of stab wounds in this upscale neighborhood in Atlanta called Buckhead, right? Now, these are the facts. Now, facts can get kind of weird, though. You know what I mean? Who had the knife? Who threw the punches? Ray Lewis's knowledge and involvement of these events remained unknown and are still unknown to this day. But somebody vouched for Ray Lewis. Somebody gave this Jigaboo coon a second chance. And he could not give a good word to Colin Kaepernick after he got another chance, after he was accused of double murder. Now, we want to go on here because there's a couple things that I want to point out before we go any further. Now, Ray Lewis and two of his companions were charged with murder. Lewis's attorney negotiated a deal, dismissal of the murder charges in exchange for testimony against his homeboys. What do they call that in the hood? Did they call that snitching? Is that considered snitching? I don't know. It is cooperating. It is now if he didn't do it, I don't know. We're not even going to talk about whether it was right or whether it's wrong. We're just going to talk about what happened. Okay, and that's what he did. He testified against his homeboys, some of the people that was on the scene with him celebrating that night, some of the people that jumped in the limousine with him, okay? And he pled guilty to obstruction of justice, obviously a misdemeanor, so he was not convicted of that. His friends were later acquitted of the murder charges. Lewis was fined $250,000 by the NFL, put on a 1-year probation, and would go on to reach an undisclosed sum, still confidential. We don't know how much money the NFL and Ray Lewis paid the families of both victims. It has been sealed. If people could get the amount of money, they would have gotten it. We don't know, but it was a lot. It was a lot. More facts. The very next season, Ray Lewis was not only in uniform, but he would also lead the Ravens to a Super Bowl win, MVP. Okay. Of course, we know his credentials and all that stuff that came with that. 13 Pro Bowl invitations in his career. Blah, 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 blah. But as I said, he got a second chance. But when given the opportunity to vouch for Colin Kaepernick, the bootlicking, coon ass, Jigaboo, number 52, Ray Lewis did the song and dance. He would not lend a hand to Colin Kaepernick. And I ran down his murder rap. I ran that down for y'all. He got a second chance. Now, Colin Kaepernick, he didn't commit no crime. He shouldn't even have to be vouched for. This man went to the Super Bowl not that long ago. Do we remember that? Does anybody remember that? 49ers would have beat us if they had let Kaepernick run. But luckily for us, he didn't do it. Now we have the opportunity. No, that's very true. That is very true. You don't think so? All right. Well, that's why the lights cut off. Okay. What Super Bowl the lights have cut off? Well, it happens in wrestling all the time. Okay. Well, let me say this though. Ray Lewis has consistently said dumb things. He's out of touch with the plight of black people in the inner city. Out of touch because he says dumb things. He said that it is not a football player's job to even speak about social issues. He said that the football field is a sanctuary. You know, they should be thankful to even be playing, right? That's his vibe, all right? But so here's a quote. It ain't too many people gonna stand up and go to black neighborhoods and worry about black folks killing themselves. That's factual. So sooner or later, we got to figure that out. we got to start taking care of ourselves. This is what Ray Lewis said. So when I started to understand these things, Shay, who's talking to Sharp, what I started to understand was that ain't Bisciotti's fight. What happened to Freddie Gray? Okay, that's what Ray Lewis, the bootlicking coon jigaboo number 52 said. And the discussion that they had back and forth was acknowledgement from Ray Lewis as one of the all-time franchise players. He was approached for his advice on whether or not they should pick up Colin Kaepernick. Very simple. I don't know why they would ask his bootlicking jigaboo number 52 ass anyway, but he's a lapdog, so they asked him. Now, let me say this about the lapdog. He is going to be up for Hall of Fame in 2018. So he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. He doesn't want to say anything too crazy. But even when he's not, he still talks like this. So, I mean, whatever. But so that's really what we're looking at. Now, you would think, though, that he would say something different. Now, Sharp took issue with the fact that Ray Lewis had to be consulted at all, arguing that an owner, an organization's brass ought to know whether or not a player is good enough to help them win off the bat. Shouldn't have to ask this retired bum. He once was good, but now he's a bum. All right. Now, okay, if they were confident that they could not work with him, why, just you either want him or you don't want him. Why do we gotta do the song and the dance? We gotta do the song and the dance because you gotta worry about advertisers. You gotta worry about fans and kind of put your finger on a pulse. Ray Lewis is not the pulse. Ray Lewis is not the pulse of the hood. Ray Lewis is not the pulse of the NFL. Ray Lewis is he's just a washed up player. He's just a bum, and he can't even. Don't even get me started. But anyway, we're gonna go a little bit further, and we're gonna wrap it up. But at the end of the day, Ray Lewis said that rushing to sign Colin Kaepernick without having a clear idea of how long Flacco will be out is a mistake. Kissing Flacco's ass, okay? Now Flacco, as I said, Flacco is more hurt than they lead on. Because if Flacco was not really hurt, why would we be talking, doing a song and dance about a backup? We already have a backup. We have Mallet. He's a bum, but we still have a backup. And we got some backups to back up the backup bum, right? But they really want somebody good because Hardball's job is on the line. If we have another bad season, I think they're going to wipe all of the chess pieces off the board. But let's get back to Ray Lewis. Now, at the end of the day, Shannon Sharp, Ray Lewis would kind of get a little heated. He talked about Colin Kaepernick's skills and disputed one another as to whether or not his protest has any place in the conversation. I don't think that it does. But, of course, Ray Lewis feels, ironically, that, it's not the place of a player to speak about police brutality. He said that the owners don't understand it. So there's no need for them to bring it up, right? He says that they don't get involved with violence among black people because they just don't understand it. It doesn't affect them. It does affect them because if the majority of the players in the NFL are black, right? And this is an issue that they are faced with, then this affects the team as well. This affects the coaches. If something happened, God forbid, to say Cam Newton at the hands of the police, I'm sure that there would be an uproar with the Panthers. They would carry it in, right? Ray Lewis completely out of touch. And as a reminder, John, in the beginning, he has a history that you would feel like he would remember. But, as he continues, I cannot support somebody like Ray Lewis. And I'm sure that different people, feel various ways about this. So what I'm asking any of the viewers, if you have a Ray Lewis jersey that you do not want anymore, please feel free to bring your jersey to me. You have one. I would love this jersey. I would love this jersey because I have a lighter. Who should I replace it with? Ravens, though. Anybody from the Ravens, anybody, anybody. I'm going to have a demonstration with his jersey. Oh no. Yes, I need this jersey. All right. But any NFL player, any NFL owner, coach, they should care about what happens in the inner city. These are football fans as well. Police brutality is something serious. And the fact that Colin Kaepernick wants to stand up for it, his job should not be on the line. This is, we're supposed to have freedom of speech. What his feelings are what his feelings are. But it is just unacceptable behavior from Ray Lewis. I think that athletes definitely have a voice, and they should be able to speak their voice and not be held accountable for speaking, especially about social ills of players, families, family members, all of that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Am I too hard on Ray Lewis? I don't think so. But I like to hear your thoughts on that. DJDiamondK@gmail.com for any booking info. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by the 2017 Baltimore Music Awards. Nominations now underway for the 7th annual Red Carpet event. All Baltimore DJs, artists, radio stations, radio shows are eligible. We have a lot of new categories, even a gospel category. So I encourage you, log on to BaltimoreMusicAwards.com. Enter your choices before October the 9th. The 3 nominees with the most nominations in every category will move on to the next round. Finalists will be announced Wednesday, October the 11th, live on the Diamond K Morning Show, and also BaltimoreMusicAwards.com. Let your voice be heard. 2017 Baltimore Music Awards. I'll see you guys tomorrow.